First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
We must tighten our focus, improve our culture and climate across all of our campuses.
The University of Missouri's new interim president is an African American with extensive ties to the university system and the Columbia campus. He's calling for a culture change and for respect in all aspects of campus life. That appointment is our top story for Thursday, November 12th. I'm James Torres.
And I'm Jenna Sands. Thanks for joining us. College towns across America are watching closely, and UF leaders are speaking out proactively. WUFT's Marie Edinger has that side of the story. Marie?
Jenna, James, there were several different groups and individuals taking an initiative to try for a more inclusive community on campus. Now, both the president and student body president at UF felt the Missouri situation warranted an official statement here. The two leaders are calling for unity and action to prevent bigotry. The response at the University of Florida was fast and widespread. The Black Student Union held a rally last night, what they called the Pray for Mizzou Solstice, saying they stand in solidarity with students at the University of Missouri.
Shut down, hidden, buried, resurrected.
It didn't happen here at our home, but we understand that's still part of our community. So for the student response has just been, what can we do to aid in the help?
UF's president, Kent Fox, even issued a response himself, saying he feels a special responsibility to make a difference in eliminating racism.
We as an institution, and then me personally, will work to end any racism that we see and that we perceive and see, whether it's in others or ourselves.
UF has organizations like the Black Student Union Affairs Task Force and the Bias Education Response Team to address any issues that crop up locally, an attempt to be proactive rather than reactive.
All the different departments now are having conversations about, what are we doing here? Are we listening? Are we responding when students reach out to us? Are we doing all the things that it sounds like maybe wasn't happening as much at Mizzou as I think it does happen here?
The University of Florida's student body president, Jocelyn Padron, wrote a statement as well. Diversity is more than just a buzzword, she said. It's an essential ingredient to intellectual thought, strong communities, and a bright future for our state. Mizzou's interim president, Michael Middleton, was a law professor and deputy chancellor emeritus. Long before that, he experienced the Columbia campus as an undergrad, and it's also where he went to law school. We expect more coverage of the changes tonight at 7 on the PBS NewsHour.
All right, Marie, thank you. The plans for spring high school graduation ceremonies in Gainesville are already causing some controversy.
And because of renovations at the O'Connell Center, 3 high school graduation ceremonies will shift to Citizens Field. This has happened before in the mid-90s, but students are not very happy. Citizens Field is where Buchholz, Eastside, and Gainesville high school seniors will be accepting their diplomas in just 7 months. But these students won't have luxuries like air conditioning on their big day. Instead, they'll be sitting in chairs on the football field while their family and friends look on from the concrete stands. The Alachua County School Board says it doesn't have another place to stage graduations, and the district usually spends $50 grand to rent out UF's O-Dome, but it will be under construction for a $45 million renovation. If stormy weather becomes an issue, Citizens Field is available to reschedule.
It may not be an ideal situation, but we're certainly trying to plan and provide as special of an event as we can.
The O'Connell Center will be bringing over the usual stage and chairs, and the district plans to spruce up the place a little bit, painting the bathrooms this spring, installing new mirrors, and providing cooling tents with misting fans.
Police in Ocala are investigating the possible ties between a dead man and a dead woman. This morning, officers were called about a man slumped in a car and found he appeared to have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. They later found a woman's body in a house less than 2 miles away. Detectives believe it's a case of a murder-suicide, and the woman may have been killed yesterday evening. And the FBI is asking for your help to find a wanted man who may be in the Gainesville area. A $3,000 reward is being offered for tips that lead to the arrest and conviction of 29-year-old Paul Anthony. He's accused of being involved in large-scale drug trafficking, and investigators believe Anthony is in the Alachua County area and should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is asked to call the FBI Miami Division at 754-703-2000. And if you went outside early this morning, you would have noticed some sweater weather.
UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman joins us from the Weather Center. Rebecca, it warmed up pretty quickly this afternoon. Should we expect another cool down tonight?
Temperatures won't be falling quite as far tonight, but they will be falling this weekend. It's because a cold front is on our doorstep. It's a strong one, though you can't really tell it by the satellite picture because the showers have fallen apart along it. But when it does move through, the winds are going to shift out of the north, and it's going to lead to some cool temperatures. But tonight, as the front moves through, we'll have some clouds, possibly some fog. Temperatures only falling to about 59 degrees Gainesville, 60 degrees in Ocala, and 60 in Lake City, which is still a couple of degrees above normal. But after that, in the afternoon, temperatures aren't going to move much at all. 76 degrees for a high in Gainesville, plenty of sunshine, temperatures near normal. And then check this out just briefly here. Temperatures are going to be falling into the 40s. Yes, 40s by Saturday morning. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. The road work on Northwest 8th Avenue in Gainesville is an extra hurdle for commuters to navigate during rush hours. You can expect the construction to last for several months, and Gainesville residents living near 8th Avenue can't wait for it all to be over.
I'm always dealing with traffic. I have to leave like 20 minutes before my classes even start to get there on time, and I still end up getting there late.
While congestion is a big issue due to lane closures, safety is also a concern. Since the start of construction, accidents have already occurred and pedestrians are no longer allowed to use the sidewalks.
A South Florida police officer involved in a fatal roadside shooting has been fired. The Palm Beach Gardens Police Department made the announcement today in the case of Officer Newman Raja. In October, Corey Jones was on the side of PGA Boulevard after his car broke down when Officer Raja pulled up in an unmarked police car in street clothes. A confrontation ended with Officer Raja fatally shooting Jones. Police say Jones was also armed but did not fire. The exact circumstances are still under investigation.
A woman caught on camera appearing to snatch a $1,300 puppy from a pet shop. Now the store's owner is counting on the public to identify the young woman being called a dog thief. Shelly Muniz shows us the video.
They just looked like two girls out shopping, you know, and enjoying the day. And I would have never thought that it would have been them that took the dog.
That dog, a Yorkie, less than 2 pounds, worth $1,300, snatched in seconds. The girls are seen on surveillance coming into the puppy stop around 5 o'clock. They walk around to the different cribs. One talks to the owner as he's mopping the floor. The other grabs the Yorkie, takes a sip of her drink, then tries to stuff him in her bag. But she ends up just walking out, her friend right behind.
I was more worried about them slipping on the floor at the time than I was them getting a dog. But, you know, when our guard is down, our cameras are still rolling.
The camera catches them from several angles. This one here is a closer look of the girl and a distinct tattoo on her left shoulder.
When you steal a dog, you're going to pay full price for it when we catch you.
This isn't the first time the puppy stop has been hit. Cameras were rolling when a man stuffed an $800 pug down his pants, going back to his car, then returning for a miniature dachshund.
And thanks to you guys, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, we did catch the people that took our 2 dogs, and we'll catch you too.
The state says the final tally on last month's bear hunt was 304, 16 short of the target harvest of 320. Right afterward, FWC said it intends for yearly hunting of a robust bear population, but today officials said it's too early to tell if there will still be a hunt next fall. A study will check on other mortality factors like roadkill and on the population of bears in different areas. Critics wonder if too many bears were killed in the eastern panhandle and question if the hunt rules were broken when so many there were taken on private lands.
And a Florida man is recovering at home after he was bitten by an alligator yesterday. Adrian Whitsett tells a story of how that man received quite a scare.
Sitting right back by the water's edge, you could call Bill Bouchard a man who doesn't scare easily. And he'll be the first to tell you he was scared this Wednesday afternoon.
Just had pressure, no splash, no nothing.
Bill's doing his thing on the dock outside his Tavares home when it happened.
Pulling out the weeds out of the planter, and all of a sudden, pressure on my arm. Just boom, and then I shook it like this, and he was like pulling me into the water.
His wife and their next door neighbor, Maria Cooper, heard it all.
You stop the bleeding. That was what was going through my mind. So we grabbed a towel, and this was the one I was worried about because it looked like a big hole right there. So
I don't want to see the gator hurt. You know, he was just trying to get something to eat, I guess.
He picked you.
Yeah, he picked me, but thank God he didn't, like he had his whole mouth right over the whole thing here. You know, he could have easily just dragged me right into the water.
A trapper showed up to the home on Lynn's Circle, preparing a smelly, gator-enticing bait. No matter how much he might have attracted the gator, Bill says this scare won't stop him from sitting on the dock of the canal.
And so I got away, I don't know how.
Now, the gator that bit Bouchard was successfully caught and killed. This was the second alligator attack in Tavares in the span of just a month. And a UF student had his own run with a gator yesterday.
That's right, a picnic date turned into a gator buffet. Michael Tamayo was eating lunch by Lake Alice when this hungry visitor stopped by. The man who took this video, Richard Reed, and his wife were taking photos by the lake when they saw the gator. Reed helped Tamayo shoo the gator away, but not before the gator chomped down on some of the picnic food.
I would not have gotten close to that alligator. I don't care how cool the video would have been, not to get that close.
Well, I'm sure it's a date they'll never forget.
Well, WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, more than 20 aircrafts were struck by lasers last night, with one incident in Florida. We'll tell you what the FAA is saying about the danger.
Obesity rates are a major concern in America, and we'll have the latest on which age groups are leveling off and which are still growing.
And temperatures have fallen across much of the country already, and the front is on our doorstep. You can see those temperatures already dropping in the 40s. I'll let you know how long the cool air lasts down here coming up after the break. Stay with us.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. More than 20 aircrafts were struck by lasers from the ground last night while flying over cities across the United States. There was at least one case in Florida in St. Pete.
The high number last night points out the spread of the problem beyond certain airports where it's a frequent issue. Chris Clackham reports.
The latest in a string of laser incidents happened 1,500 feet above New York City. A bright green beam of light lit up the cockpit of a news helicopter, nearly blinding the chopper pilot.
Don't look at it.
Police moved in, arresting one man.
Right now we're getting hit pretty good with a green laser.
And a couple are getting hit with a green laser.
It's a growing problem across the country, especially at airports. The FAA says already this year more than 5,000 laser strikes have been reported, with more than 20 aircraft targeted Wednesday night alone. Many fear culprits don't understand the seriousness of pointing lasers at those flying overhead.
We're talking about a helicopter here that weighs almost 2 tons. I mean, imagine that coming down on your house because the pilot's vision is impaired. Even more serious is if it was a jetliner.
Making matters worse, the laser's beam gets larger in the distance.
And so a lot of people don't understand this little light is a big deal, 4 or 5 miles away.
Listen, all aircraft unauthorized laser event.
Meanwhile, police are looking for who pointed lasers at 3 planes landing at Dallas Love Field Wednesday night. A federal crime punishable up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
Now, last night, none of the pilots reported injuries, but in other cases in the past, pilots have reported eye injuries that required medical treatment. And speaking of health and medical news,
Danielle Prince joins us now with the latest.
So for more than a decade, obesity campaigns have been trying to get Americans to watch what they're eating, but new findings show that maybe not so much success is coming from those efforts. A new report is revealing obesity rates in the United States have continued to rise since 1999. The latest data from the CDC shows more than 1/3 of adults and 17% of children are obese. When looking at the last 15 years, the numbers of obese adults climbed by about 7%. But when it comes to kids, the numbers have leveled off. Women are more likely to be obese than men, and the risk is higher for middle-aged adults and older adults. Another CDC report has identified a group missing out on the health benefits of the overall decline in smoking. In 2005, nearly 21% of U.S. adults smoked, but last year the percentage had dropped to about 17%. Also, the average number of cigarettes smoked per day decreased. But researchers at the CDC are also pointing out those who are uninsured or on Medicaid have smoking rates that are double everyone else. A new Harvard study points to simple ways to cut your healthcare costs. The researchers are recommending yoga, meditation, and prayer. The study shows people who are trained in relaxation response methods need healthcare less often and could spend a whopping 43% less on procedures and lab tests. Doctors believe when you're stressed out, there's a shift in your immune system. You lose some of the cells that fight infections. One professor is using this knowledge to help his students focus on class instead of their personal to-do list.
When you see anybody who's stressed and they go and keep taking their breath, or they hold their breath, what we want to tell them to do is just to learn to breathe and soften into the belly.
Stress-related illnesses include anxiety and depression are the third highest health care related expense behind heart disease and cancer. A Massachusetts woman who had no idea she was pregnant until she was hours away from giving birth. Judy Brown and her husband Jason received their surprising news after visiting a hospital for Judy's abdominal pain. The pains turned out to be labor pains, and Judy gave birth to her first child, Carolyn Rose, that same night. Doctors said the infant was perfectly healthy, despite the mother not knowing about the pregnancy. Both parents are in their 40s and understandably are quite unprepared for their bundle of joy. Friends and family have already stepped up with several necessary items, including a bassinet. This is the couple's first child. Well, if you love shopping, I have some good news for you. Doctors are saying shopping acts as a distraction because it's so appealing to the senses. Some people use shopping online and in stores as a way to lighten their mood when they're upset. Regardless of how you shop, the pleasure from the purchase is still there. Dr. Scott B. says shopping appeals to our hearing and seeing senses. These stimulations distract us from what's on our mind, and we end up feeling better. For some, shopping has become a habit when they're feeling down, but B is telling people even window shopping can produce delightful brain chemistry. Now, I don't know about you guys, but shopping kind of stresses me out sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
See, this is music to my ears because I like to window shop. I like to actually shop. If it's online, I really agree.
Grocery shopping.
No,
hey,
I'm
that's
with
even
Danielle.
better.
I'm with Danielle on this one. I can't be in a store longer than 5 minutes. I'm that guy. I want in
and then
out.
when you swipe the credit card, you're kind of like, oh, you're stressed out.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's too many decisions. Okay.
Thanks, Danielle. And it's been feeling a little bit more like fall lately, but Rebecca's been telling us even cooler weather is on the way.
That's right, Rebecca. How cool is it going to get?
Temperatures are going to be falling below normal for the first time since mid-October. That means we could see some high temperatures near 70, low temperatures in the 40s. And it's part of my 3 big things that you need to know. That front is on our doorstep. It's going to bring the cool down. It's the strong November front I've been telling you about for days now, and it arrives tonight. Finally, it's going to be bringing those below normal temperatures for the first time since mid-October, but it doesn't last long. The temperatures warm back up already by the start of the next work week, but you're going to want to grab the jackets as this front moves through. It's a stealth front, meaning you're really not going to notice when it moves through the area. There were some showers and storms along it. Now it has largely fallen apart, but it's packing a punch in terms of the cooler air behind it. And you can see where that front is. We have these temperatures in the 40s and 50s across the country. Out in Florida, well, you've been seeing it on the internet probably. We have our temperatures in the fall near 80 degrees for much of the start of November and still right now, but it's going to start to change. Tonight, the front moves through. You can see that stripe of clouds, but ahead of it, we're still going to stay warm because of the cloud cover, also a chance for some fog. So temperatures will only fall to about 59 degrees in Gainesville, 60 degrees in Ocala for tonight. Now in the afternoon, the winds continue out of the north. We only get up to 76 degrees. That could be nearly 10 degrees cooler than today. We'll still have plenty of sunshine. We won't even break that 80-degree mark though for the first time in quite some time. And then Saturday morning, 46 degrees in Gainesville, below normal temperatures. Definitely some jacket weather, especially for us Floridians. It doesn't last long though. Here's my point number 3 to show you the cool down with our temperatures for Saturday and Sunday mornings. But after that, we start to warm right back up to near average, then above average by Tuesday morning. So it's a brief cool down, but something you'll definitely want to enjoy, especially after some warmer temperatures we had over these past couple of days. It's because high pressure shifts further to the east that our temperatures start to warm back up, because we get this flow out of the Atlantic. So that's going to lead to some warmer temperatures starting really Sunday night into Monday. could also bring the chance for a few showers along the coast with some onshore flow. But then we start to turn our eyes out west, where another system could start to develop later on in the week. But we have some higher confidence now that this system likely takes a trek further to the north, so it won't be bringing as much rainfall as we previously thought, but could still bring just a slight chance for some rain. Otherwise, hey, if you're headed out of town this weekend, the beautiful and very cool weather will be following you if you're heading to South Carolina for the Gator game this weekend. If you're traveling on Friday, beautiful weather. Temperatures are actually going to be a bit cooler there than here, so they'll be falling a bit. Saturday and Sunday cool with high temperatures in the 60s, nights in the 30s. So you'll definitely want to pack some of those jackets if you're heading out there. You'll want the jackets too this weekend. Temperatures falling during the day, only near 70 degrees, and in the nights could have 2 nights in the 40s. After that though, we start to warm right back up. Temperatures even approaching 80 degrees by Monday and Tuesday. Back to you.
All right, Rebecca, thank you. Well, the Gator football team is heading back out on the road this weekend.
Yeah, they'll have a really big game against South Carolina coming up, and Sarah Mack joins us now with more.
Thanks, James and Jenna. So the Florida football team just narrowly beat Vanderbilt, and they scored less than 10 points on that game. They looked a little too comfortable on the field. We'll talk about how the Gators are preparing for yet another conference matchup this weekend coming up in sports. The Florida Gator football team is preparing for their last road game of the season this weekend. Welcome back to sports. I'm Sarah Mack. After a nail-biting 2-point win over Vanderbilt, the Gator football team secured its title of SEC East champs, and Saturday's game against South Carolina will be Florida's 8th straight conference matchup. As the team gets ready for their last conference game of the regular season, Gators head coach Jim McElwain feels his team needs to focus on being less result-oriented.
You've got to strain, man. You've got to go prepare yourself mentally, to win each and every down, but you can't think about results.
Although Florida sits at 6-1 in the SEC while the Gamecocks stand at 1-6, the Gators cannot overlook protecting the pigskin, as the Gamecocks are 4th in the SEC in forced turnovers. The Gators and the Gamecocks will square off this Saturday in South Carolina at noon. For the first time in 19 years, Billy Donovan will not be on the sidelines for the Gator men's basketball season opener. Tomorrow night, head coach Mike White will make his debut as the Florida opens their regular season against the Navy in the Veterans Classic. Not only is this the first time since 2001 that the season opener is away, the team has a new staff, a new way of playing, 7 new players. Redshirt senior Alex Murphy is injured, and this will be redshirt junior Devon Walker's first game in a very long time. Coach White says he is well aware of all the challenges tomorrow night faces.
But it's a difficult start. People look at Navy and say, they're in the Patriot, you're in the SEC. That's a give me. Heck no, it's not a give me. This is going to be a very, very difficult game.
Devon Walker, Jong Ed Bunu, Casey Hill, Kayvon Allen, and Dorian Finney-Smith are the probable starters for Friday night's season opener. Tip-off is slated for 9:30. Speaking of Finney-Smith, the redshirt senior was named first team All-SEC in the coach's preseason poll. On the other side of the ball, Ronnie Williams made the second team All-SEC for the Florida women's basketball team. The women will also open their season on Friday as the Gators take on Temple. Tip-off is set for 7 sharp. The 2015 SEC Championship Gator soccer team will host the first round of NCAA championship action this weekend. Western Michigan will travel to Gainesville Saturday as Florida makes their 19th NCAA championship appearance, 13 of which are consecutive. The Gators roster is stacked with talent, including junior forward Savannah Jordan, who won SEC Player of the Year and is also the second leading scorer in the nation, boasting 21 goals and 48 points. Saturday's match will be the first time the two teams meet. Kickoff is set at 7 from Disney Stadium. In pro football, 2 AFC East rivals will face off in tonight's Thursday night football matchup as the Bills visits the Jets in MetLife Stadium. It will be Buffalo's head coach Rex Ryan's first time back to MetLife after being fired from the Jets coaching staff, and this divisional matchup has huge implications for the AFC wildcard race. Both teams are battling injuries. It is still not clear if Bills running back LaShawn McCoy will be available. The Jets quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick is also playing through a torn ligament in his thumb. The Jets are now 5-3 on the season with a win they would have a solid leg up in the AFC wildcard race. Kickoff is set for 8:25.
Thanks, Sarah. It's always fun when we run a story about some person setting a new world record.
Yeah, but when it's a dog that breaks the record, it might be just a little too much. Meet Otto. He's a bulldog in Peru, and he's about to do something that you'll never forget. That's because Otto broke the Guinness World Record by doing this, skateboarding through the longest human tunnel in Lima. He passed through the legs of 30 people pretty quickly, too, if you ask me. Otto's owners celebrated with cheers when their pet was presented with a certificate by the Guinness official. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that dog has way more talent than I ever will.
Never could I ever do that, but that's awesome. Well, before we go, let's get one last check on the weather.
Here's Rebecca.
Cold front is knocking on our door, North Florida. It's going to be here later on tonight. The winds are going to switch out of the north, and by morning, you'll feel it. Temperatures are still going to be a little bit warmer, though. This morning, 59 degrees for a low in Gainesville, but in the afternoon, we're not even going to break the 80-degree mark. Then check it out. Saturday and Sunday, both nights in the 40s. We start to warm up, though, already by Monday and Tuesday. Back to you.
At 5, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.
And here on WUFT TV, BBC World News is coming up next, and the PBS NewsHour is at 7 o'clock. Have a good night.